as we go forward, because we continue to find those areas that need improvement.
Thank you very much. And this, just trying to remember how many investigations, as it were, that the team took place. Is sort of, it's a tremendous number over a 12-month period. So we absolutely understand the commitment and really grateful to it. And I think it's important that maybe a message from this annual report from this meeting today is that, as Carol has said, as Accountable Officer, Chief Executive, that we not only welcome the reports, but actually we are proactive in asking for the work to be done. And actually that shouldn't be just the Chief Executive approach. It should be an approach of everyone in the organisation, because audit has at least two functions. One is to give a positive signal about the governance, finances, but also then about the learning from the report. And that's where we want to get the value from as well, so that we can use the learning to continue on that improvement journey that Carol has indicated. So it's really important that people in the organisation understand the context for the work, I think. So maybe that's a message we can get to ourselves across the organisation from that report up to date. Anybody
else before we close on this item? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the team, Dave and the team, for all of the efforts and the collaboration. So we move on to the next item in the agenda, the annual report. I'm going to turn to Carol first and then Pam. And perhaps others may have an opportunity to speak in as well, such as Chair of the Audit Committee. So firstly to Carol.
Just a couple of opening comments from me, really. And I think I shared these in the Audit Committee, and they're probably worth sharing in the wider setting here. And I've referred to them a bit as we've discussed both the finance and the internal audit reports just now. We're 2 years into an improvement journey and process as a board, and myself just passed the 2-year mark of being in the health board. And one of the key things that I have been looking at since the start is our prospect for improvement. And there are 3 elements to that, and it's relevant for this report as context, really, in terms of whether we can see these signs of improvement. There are 3 questions that I ask. One is, are we aware of where our problems are? Do we proactively look for them, seek them out? Are we curious, etc.? And we've just discussed the systems of internal control there with Dave. Question 2, do we know what good looks like? So are we clear about the standards, about what best practice looks like, what top drawer health services, governance, etc. looks like? And then thirdly, have we got the capability to get to good, to reach those standards? So this report is really a bit of a marker of where we are on that journey. And where we start to focus on where we will be at this time next year as well. There are really some very clear signs that we are improving organisational governance from the board, but in a wider context as well. We're improving financial governance, that's clear as well in the report. We will have an annual quality statement coming through as well, and just to sort of preempt that a little bit, we will be able to demonstrate significant strides in improvement in those areas as well. But we'll also be pointing at in the reports those areas where we have yet to really turn the dial in the most significant way for patients, and that continues to be our key focus, particularly around access to services and people largely waiting too long to receive care. When they receive it, they're often very, very complimentary indeed, but that wait is clearly problematic. So I felt a balanced report, bearing in mind all of the contributions that we've had from audit and other colleagues, inspectorates and others, and we will get to the quality report in the next couple of months, and probably hand over to Pam for some of the detail.
Yeah, Pam?
Diolch, thank you. So this, the annual report, it's a combined document. It sets out within it's almost 3 parts document, which is the performance report, the accountability report, the auditor's statements, which we've heard through the ISIS 260 report, and the financial accounts, which will all be consolidated subject to board approval for onwards signing by the Auditor General tomorrow. So just in terms of assurance, this has been through audit committee and board members have had a full opportunity to review it in detail. There's just a couple of highlights I would just like to take, David, and perhaps we can come back to the recommendations following questions at the end. So the report represents a true and fair opinion in terms of the governance arrangements of the Health Board. It sets out the progress as well as some of the challenges and some of the issues that we've had through the year. They will all be familiar to the board because we have reported those through board and committee, so there should be no surprises in there. Wanted just really to pull out the progress as reported in terms of system of internal control as reported through the head of internal audit opinion, and that is detailed within the report. We had our structured assessment report, which the board will recall. We actually had 2 structured assessments reported during the year, but I think it's important to recognise through the governance arrangements as reported in the annual report, the progress that has been made, but actually some of the challenges. And those are the issues actually we've addressed through the IMTP, which has been approved by the board going forward. The board has undertaken a self-assessment in terms of its effectiveness, and that has been reported to the board. We identified a number of areas that we will want to focus on in the coming year. So I hope this time next year we'll be able to report on progress. We're in the process of undertaking committee self-assessments as well. So in terms of the way in which the committees operate, that will also provide added information to the committee chairs to ensure that undertaking their roles effectively on behalf of the board. We reported through to Audit Committee the Health Board's compliance with the Code of Corporate Governance, and that is an important element of good practice and governance that we're required to undertake, as well as undertaking an assessment against the Audit Committee handbook, which the Audit Committee has received. I think it's important to recognise the risk management arrangements in that the board approved and reviewed the risk management framework in the last year, as well as the risk appetite. And we've seen an improving internal audit from limited assurance in the previous year to reasonable assurance. So that demonstrates progress in terms of the risk management arrangements. So that's an important level of assurance I wanted to highlight. Carol's already mentioned about the annual quality report, which will be published at the end of July, and I think it's important to recognise within the report the improvements that have been demonstrated in terms of the introduction of the quality management system, integrated concerns policy, and demonstrating good compliance with duty of candour and duty of quality. There will be separate reports on those which will be reported through Quality and Safety Committee, but there's a level of assurance in terms of reported through certainly that the board will want to know. And then I think just important to say where then we have had some breaches in relation to our standing orders and standing financial instructions during the year. They are reported through Audit Committee and they are detailed within the report, and we are some actions in place to make sure we address improvements going forward. And then I think just lastly, just to on Russ's point in terms of the failure to in terms of the Finance Act, the first duty, the first duty not that wasn't achieved. That was reported in Russ's report as of the ISA 260. So I think that's just important to note in terms of the board. But as the board will be aware, we have approved a balanced plan for submission to Welsh Government for the forthcoming year. So I think, Chair, and what you've also got attached to the paper is an updated letter of representation, which yourself and the Chief Exec will sign, which includes an additional paragraph that was inserted relating to the capital issue, which was presented at Audit Committee. But because the board will need to approve that, I've got in the papers. So I'll stop there and take any questions. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn iawn, diolch yn iawn. Waith. Yw'r sylwadau cwestiynau?
Any comments or questions, please? I'll bring in Eartha first. In case there are any general comments following from that meeting.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. So, Karen and I, we had a brief communication. She was keen that we made some comment following the submission of the reports to this meeting here. So we've all keep saying thank you for the work, but it is notable on the meeting on Tuesday, you know, how much the work of the finance team was commended by Audit Wales. There was particularly quite a lot of work done by your colleague Denise, I understand, and all of that was really appreciated in terms of transparency, which is absolutely crucial. But assurances that the board received. So the Audit Wales Committee, the Audit Wales were very thankful, sincerely, and really commented on that. But they also commented on the really positive work with internal audit, which we also do need to recognise. And I'm not overemphasising when I say that the Audit Committee entirely depends on the reports that Dave brings. So absolutely crucial to reassure everybody that the Audit Committee have scrutinised these accounts, the audit report and the annual report. We have identified areas for further action and, you know, these have been considered, they will be noted in the minutes, and we will be following some of that work forward in our next meetings throughout the coming year. Some of those issues have been highlighted today by different questions already. So just to reassure you on that point. Particular work by Pam's team, who were nominated for an award that was sent out. So congratulations on
Night out in Manchester.
Yes, and I am Manchester. So I mean that's wonderful news that the work, and it's all grounding us for the future, because those kind of foundations are crucial in going forward, that we've got the leadership, the finance and the governance in the right place, and we're still on the progress for that. So having said that, I'm very much happy to recommend that these financial accounts, the audit reports from Audit Wales and internal audit and the annual report are accepted by the board after the scrutiny from the Audit Committee. Thank you.
Diolch yn iawn, diolch yn iawn am waith yna. Rhian,
thank you very much for that work. Rhian Ginter, any comments or questions?
Support everything Eartha says. I'm on that particular committee as well, and we've seen this to distraction almost, I think. So I think it all has had a really good going through. But 24-25 has been, it's gone, it's happened. This is a factual second, isn't it, really? And we're just signing that this is what is. But that's why I think it's important that Carol's introduction to this item here is, well, it's an important introduction, setting that context and the fact that things, it's not fixed, it's not frozen in time, that there is movement. So I don't know how you can record that scenario setting, but I think it needs to be there somewhere. Particularly, this is a public document. It will be scrutinised extensively, no doubt, by press and anybody with any interest. But I think your context setting and the rationales that you've provided, audit have provided and so on, need somehow to form part of some sort of introduction to it.
Okay.
Ond diolch yn fawr.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr iawn. Bring Carolyn at the end. Anybody else? Unrhyw question?
Any comments or questions?
Carol, ymateb,
So in Carol, without Carol's amative response, I also wanted to ask a question.
Carol, in that this is big time and it's historic, isn't it? It's a look back. So let's look forward a little bit, and we are back in this meeting in 12 months' time. What will the report say in 12 months' time? What do we hope the report will say? And the hope is based on what?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. And Eartha just talked about the grounding us for the future. So yes, this is a look back, and actually we're already almost 2-3 days away from the end of the first quarter. So we're a quarter through this year. And I always think sort of 12 months, God, that's a long time. It's not that long. But, you know, we've had some really helpful and important reflection, I think, through these processes of, well, where are we now? And the progress made over the last 2 years does evidence the focus that we have brought. We have got to maintain that focus and that drive going forward. And in many ways, I'll just pick out two things that I think we will want to see further progress in, but where we have reached actually a very reasonable standard. So that's corporate and organisational governance will continue to embed and mature. Financial governance will continue to embed and mature. We will continue to look for issues and challenges and problems. So that's almost the foundation. But the real story is about the difference that we'll be making for staff, patients, and people in the community. And I think our focus on delivering those objectives, delivering those very tangible improvements that people feel are really important, because I think everyone wants to feel that they have trust and confidence in their local health services. So I think that's really the test of are we seeing further signs that we're delivering for people, and do people feel more confident that we're a health board that can deliver, can be sustained into the long term? People ask me all the time, how long is it going to take to get Betsy to be great? And in many aspects, it already is great, by the way, some fantastic work that goes on. But we know we've got significant challenges, and so it will take longer. And, people can say, is it 3, 5, 10 years even? It will take longer. And the context around us is changing and challenging. We must look at our strategy, and I know that we're going to be discussing that in different forums. We've got to get a good plan to go forward. Carol and I were chatting earlier about fail to plan to fail. We've got to be able to put our prospectus of what we are going to do to support the population, and then we've got to deliver it. So 12 months from now, I'm hoping that we will see, we're not just hoping, anticipating we will see further improvements in the way in which we are running this organisation and delivering.
Diolch yn fawr, Carol. So the emphasis is on the journey, isn't it? I think that's where we are, and we've done excellent work around the governance and finances, which is really important for the way the organisation goes about our business. For most people, they don't see that, or they only see it when something goes wrong. So in a way, the fact that people don't see it is a sign of success. So the building blocks are in place, but we need to address the issues around performance that the report highlights, most definitely. And much of that, as we've said on more than one occasion, is about access to services. We know from all the feedback we get that when people do access our services, there is a very high level of satisfaction. People are really pleased with the treatment received. People are really impressed by the kindness of people who deliver the services. But it's actually getting the service in the first place that is the huge challenge. So everything we do in the next 12 months, we hope will help address that. There's no quick fix. These things are going to take time, and for things to change, everything must change. I think that's what we have discovered in the work we've done over the last 2 years. It's not just about trying to fix one thing. Everything has got to change. So that's the 12 months ahead of us. We're a quarter into it. So we've got 3/4 of the year left, and we look forward to coming back in 12 months and reflecting on the progress, further progress. That's the theme again of today, I hope. Right, gyda hynny, gai ddiolch yn fawr iawn.
So with that, can I thank everybody for the work in preparing the report as well. It's been quite a substantial piece of work to bring the different aspects together. And there will be an opportunity to reflect the report in the annual meeting. But we come to the recommendations now, and our purpose today is to agree or to disagree with the recommendations. So firstly, we accept the 24-25 annual report and the annual government statement. Everybody happy to accept that? Okay, thank you. I also ask you now to approve the annual report and that we then submit it to Audit Wales and Welsh Government. Is everybody happy to approve that? Thank you very much. And then, is everybody happy for Carol and myself as Chair and Chief Executive to sign the letter included in the pack? Is everybody happy for us to do that? Okay, thank you, Pam.
Made it specific there. We also just need to approve the annual accounts as presented by Russ, which will be incorporated. So we just wanted to make sure that's recorded as well. So.
Diolch yn iawn. Pawb yn hapus I wneud hynny.
Everybody happy to do that? To approve the financial report. So that's the end of our meeting for today. As I mentioned there, we do have an annual meeting next month, the 17th of July, in this location, I believe. Back here is where we'll be for the annual meeting. The public will be able to join us. There will be a report for presentation, the annual report, but it will also be an opportunity to receive further information about the health board work. Welcome to attend that meeting, and further details will be available on the website and through social media, I'm sure. May I take the opportunity to thank everybody for the work which has gone into the reports that we've looked at today. The short nature of the meeting is not very reflective of the vast amount of work which has taken place on the report. So thank you very much for everybody who's been involved. May I also thank Pam and Tîn and Llinus and Philippa for helping us with the meeting today. We've experienced a couple of technical issues, but we have overcome them. Thank you very much for that. I think we've been successful in having a live stream. So thank you for all of the endeavours that translate the technology is great when it works until it doesn't work. Or sometimes it can be a blessing when it doesn't work, because you can take a moment of escape from the phone. But anyway, thank you for your patience and your support today. So The next meeting will be the annual meeting, and then we'll have our usual health board meeting on the last day of July, 31st of July. Thank you very much to all. Before we close, and in case somebody wasn't able to say something and they're eager to share something before we close the meeting? No? Nobody? Or everybody's had enough opportunity to speak? Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. That brings this meeting to a close.
Recording stopped.